ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां व्यासशङ्करमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। So we'll start with 16. I know we covered 16 last week, but we'll just repeat the mantra. ध्वामिमौ पुरुषौ लोके ध्वामिमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरक्षाक्षर एव च क्षरक्षाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते. So this says that in this loka there are two types of people being described here. One is called Kshara Purushaha, other is called Akshara Purushaha. So Ksharaha, Aksharaha. So that which is the perishable is called Ksharaha, and Aksharaha is the one which is imperishable. Or you can call, so Ksharak Sarvani Bhutani. So all the elements and the elementals are called Ksharaha. So all the elements and elementals. So it means all the 5 elements and the respective properties, their attributes, all of them are perishable. That means they are not going to last. So including the physical body also comes under Ksharaha. Including the Manaha, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, all of them also come under Ksharaha. But the one which is imperishable, he is the one which powers the entire thing. So the Atma, the consciousness, is the one which is called Aksharaha here. And it's called Kutastaha. So Kutastam means changeless. The one which cannot, it doesn't undergo any change, is called Kutastam. And because it is Kutastam, it is Aksharaha. So there is no decaying, or it doesn't undergo any change, thereby it is eternal. So that is what it says here, Kutastokshara Uchyate. So Dvau Imo Purushaha. Then in 17th we started looking into it. Let's look at this. Uttamah Purushasvanyaha Uttamah Purushasvanyaha Paramatmetyudahritaha Paramatmetyudahritaha Yo Lokatrayamavishya Bhibartavyaya Ishvaraha Uttama Purushasvanyaha Paramatmetyudahritaha Yo Lokatrayamavishya Bhibartavyaya Ishvaraha. So in this loka, so Dvav Imam Purushau Loke, in the previous verse, it says there is Uttama Purushaha. So Uttama Purushaha is the one which is of the highest order. Uttamam, let us say, it is of the highest order. Or the superior person you can call, correct? You can call that. Then so Anyaha means others. So there are others out there. So here we are talking only about Purusha, Uttama Purusha. So he doesn't discuss about other types of people. So, but we have to look at what is this Uttama Purusha, what is the other types of Purushas also there. So generally we categorize them as Uttama Purusha is the one who is supposed to be of the highest order of knowledge. So here the Bhagavan himself is of the order of Paramatma. He is of the order of highest knowledge. Thereby is called Uttama Purusha. So anyone who has got the Jnanam, who has got understanding of who you are, of one's own true nature, is Uttama Purusha. And this knowledge is not something which is a fleeting knowledge. Like this knowledge cannot be claimed saying that I got this knowledge today. And tomorrow the knowledge may not be there. So this kind of an understanding should not be there. So the knowledge which you have already arrived at the truth by removing all the Panchakosha Viveka, all this thing, So what you have arrived actually is just already who you are. But because of ignorance, this particular truth was not revealed to us before. So we have not arrived at something new. We have not found anything new. We have only discovered what was already existing. It was covered. So this is called Uttama Purusha here. Right? So it's called the changeless because after having discovered the truth of one's own self as the Atma, the consciousness, which is called Kutastaha, which is called Aksharaha, thereby it is called Uttama Purusha. So Uttama Purusha has got two definitions, which is Aksharaha and Kutastaha. Right? So Purusha itself is actually only one. So why does he distinguishes Uttama Purusha? See, the reason why Uttama Purusha is said because Uttama Purusha is the one who has got Satvikam at the highest level. So a wise person has got Satvikam at the highest level, Rajasikam at the lower level, and Tamasikam probably not. Little, very low. That means the person is always active in terms of either studies or lecturing, Vidyasanam, teaching, etc., or studying on his own, and less amount of sleep. Because these activities, Satvikam is very high. So Satvikam, when the person is there, it's always active. So that is why Uttama Purusha is only mentioned here. But there are also two types of people are there who are called Madhyama Purusha. So Madhyama Purusha is people who belong to the category of neither they are wise, nor they are not very, starting people. They are somewhere in between. Most people, they fall under the category of Madhyama Purusha. That means they have actually started somewhere and they are in the journey of discovering one's own true nature. So Madhyama Purusha is not a wise person. And it is not changeless because the knowledge is changing, correct? Every day the knowledge is, you are discovering something new, you are understanding something new, some old knowledge gets replaced, new knowledge comes into the picture, analysis, doubts come. So the Madhyama Purusha is evolving. So it cannot be called Aksharaha. Neither it can't be called Kutastaha. But it is better to be a Madhyama Purusha than Adama Purusha. So the third category we talks about is Adama Purusha, which is not mentioned here. So Adamaha means what? Lowest category of the people, or the lowest category where the person doesn't even know what Shastram is. Not interested in anything, not interested in pursuit of Jnanam, purely Laukika Vishaya. And mainly interested in pursuit of Artha, Kama, and to some extent Dharma. Not interested or not having Purushartha Nishchaya as having Moksham as the Parama Purushartha. Right? So, whereas the Madhyama Purusha has got Purushartha Nishchaya, he understands what it is and it's a work in progress. Right? So, Moksham is the ultimate target. So, one has to discover freedom, and for that the person is working very hard. The Uttama Purusha has already reached the destination. So after reaching destination, there is no further requirement for any changes to be done. That's why it says here, Paramatma iti udahartaha. So Paramatma iti udahartaha. Who is this? Uttama Purushaha. So Uttama Purushaha is also called Paramatma iti udahartaha. Means he is also called a Paramatma. So Paramatma is equal to Uttama Purushaha, is equal to Aksharaha, is equal to Kutastaha. So all these definitions are indicating one person or one knowledge, which is the nature of superior knowledge. So Uttama Purushas Anyaha means other people, okay, not them. Then Yo Lokatrayam Avishyaha. Avishyati means Lokatrayaha means three lokas. So all the three lokas having entered them as what? Ishvara. So he pervades all the three lokas. Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha. So Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha. All the three lokas he pervades as one's own self. So Avishati, Avishyaha means pervaded or entered. Then Vibhartavya Ishvaraha. So how does he enter? He enters as Ishvara, as the one of consciousness. Right? And after entering him, he actually Vibhartihi means sustains. So he sustains the universe, he sustains the three lokas by his mere presence. So Paramatma iti udahartaha. So Paraha means that which is of the nature of highest order, which is called Adhishtanam, Adharam. All these words are Adhishtanam, Adharam, Aksharaha, Kutastam, Uttama Purushaha, all mean the same. Then in verse number 18, he says, I am known as a Paramatma which transcends everything. So it says, now he has given the definition of who is Purusha, Purusha Uttamaha. And he has already said that the person who understands this vision pervades the three lokas. After entering the three lokas, he sustains the three lokas. That means he is the one who is present, also the Vibhartihi, Vibhartavyaha, the one who sustains the universe also. Then now he says that I am known as this Paramatma. So here the Bhagavan says that this knowledge or this new ownership which you have taken of yourself is the Paramatma, which is myself. That's what he says here. Yasmat Sharamati Toham. Yasmat Sharamati Toham. Aksharata Pichotamaha. Aksharada Pichotamaha. Yasmat Sharamati Toham. Aksharata Pichotamaha. Atosmi loke vedhecha. Atosmi loke vedhecha. Pratitah Purushottamaha. So, Yasmat, because I am the Sharaha, Sharam Atita Aham. Right? So, Atitaha means what? That which is beyond. So, Gunatraya Atitaha, Kalatraya Atitaha, Dehatraya Atitaha. Right? So, all the three is transcended. Right? So Ksharam Yasma Ksharam Atitaha Aham. So Atitoham, you have to break it into Atita, Atitaha Aham. Means I am that which is beyond everything. And I am of the nature of Aksharaha. So Aksharat api cha uttamaha. So I am actually called the Aksharam. I am also called the Uttamaha. Then Ataha Asmi Loke Vede cha. So therefore, in this world and in the Vedas, so Vede cha means what in the Vedas? Pratitah Purushottamaha. So Pratitaha means I am renowned, I am famous, or I am known. So here the Bhagavan actually uses his own trumpet. He says that I am the person who is known in the Vedas because Vedas reveal the truth of the self. So I am present in the Vedas and the Vedas reveal the truth. Thereby I am actually called Uttama Purushaha. I am of the nature of Atitaha. I am also beyond everything. And I am famous. So Pratitah Purushottamaha. So therefore I am the truth of Ksharaha and Aksharaha, all of them. So I'm actually the one who is the truth for everything, but I do not get touched by any of these things. I'm distinct from all of them, but I'm not distinct from any of this. So now in verse number 19 and 20, he summarizes the truth or the glory of the knowledge. So it's a summary of what he has been taught already before. Yo mam evam asammudaha. Yo mam evam asammudaha. Janati purushottamam. Yo mam evam asammudaha. Janati purushottamam. Sasarvavid bhajati mam. Sasarvavid bhajati mam. Sarvabhavena bharata. Sasarvavid bhajati mam. Sarvabhavena bharata. Yo mam evam asammudaha. Janati purushottamam. Sasarvavid bhajati mam. Sarvabhavena bharata. So here Bharata, or the one who belongs to Bharata Kulaha. Hey Bharata, Yaha Asammudaha means the one who is not deluded. About what? Mam Evam. So the one who is not deluded, who is very clear as the truth of me. Mam Evam. What does he have? Janati Purushottamam. So Janati means what? Knows. Right? Janati means knows as what? As Purushottamam. So the person who knows this truth, the person who is not deluded, who has got no confusion, he has got a very clear vision that I am this Purushottama, I am this consciousness. So you have to add all those things. Kutastam, Aksharam, Purushottamaha, right? All of them add. So this is called knowledge. Paramatma, also one more word. So all of them is only one. There are different names. And he knows me in this manner because he is actually not a mudaha, asam mudaha. So he, only the person who is not a deluded person can understand this truth. Right? And what does he do after that? Sa sarvavid bhajati mam. Right. So in this way, this person keeps, understanding about me, or he does the, so bhajati here means what? Not bhajane. So it's not like saying that this bhajane being done. So bhajati means what? Is labdhva, means gaining. So he actually belongs to me. He becomes one with me and he attains me. So So sarva with bhajati mam. So sarvaha means what? All. With means what? All, the knower of all. So sarva with. So saha means that person. So saha sarva with bhajati. So the one who knows this truth in this manner has got full knowledge. He gains me in full. And how? Sarva bhavena. So sarva bhavena means what? The self of all. He does not understand that I am only belonging to you. He does not say that, oh, I can guarantee for myself that I am the consciousness. But if I ask Seshadriji is conscious or not, I cannot vouch for him because it is something, it is his problem. He has to go and find out Krishna, he has to know. The same conscious principle is existing in all of us. So this has to be understood. So when we have this view, then there is no question of any differences. We may be belonging to different culture, community, different race, religion, it doesn't matter. The only one principle is there, sarva bhavena. So all the self is present in all of them, and I am present and all of them as the self. So one consciousness, difficult to understand, correct? But this is what is said here. That see, all of us are about physical bodies, correct? So all of them is Ksharaha, correct? When I say I am Aksharaha, when I say I am changeless. So what is changeless? Changeless is the one that is responsible, which exists in all three states of experience. That which is untouched, unchangeable, the Sakshi, the witness. So this is called the Ksharaha, this Aksharaha, Paramatma. So the person who understands this truth is very clear about this. Even though we may be transacting this world, we also have a view that it is only the Maya Shakti which is making me do all these things. And in reality, I'm not a doer because Atma doesn't have anything called doership at all. Due to the upadhis, due to the manifesting medium, things are happening. So the body is a manifesting medium for the consciousness, correct? And because the consciousness is manifested in the body mind sense complex, it is mistakenly taken as the Satyam. And this is taken as the Atma, which is not the truth. So the deluded person thinks that I'm the doer. And the doership is done only by the physical parts of the body, but not the Atma, because Atma doesn't have any limbs. See, in the Mundaka Upanishad, we already saw it has got Achakshuhu, Ashrotram, Gotram, Avarnam, Apanipadam, all of them are there. So it has got no limbs, nothing, no Gotram, no Kulam, nothing there. No eyes, no ears, no touch. So how can it perform in actions? Right? So the actions are performed only by the manifesting medium, and that is mistaken. That's what it says here, asammodaha. So yo mam eva asammodaha means the person who is not deluded, only such a person. Eva means there's a qualification there. Only that person, or only those people, they know me as Janati Purushottamaha. So they know me as Purushottamaha. So other people will not know me as Purushottamaha. Then after attaining or knowing this, what does it do? So Sarvavid Bhajati Ma. So Bhajati here means attaining, or he becomes one with me as Sarva Bhavena Bharata. So he becomes one with me, and thereby he is present in all the living beings as the essence. So this is what it is, the message here. The word Sarva Bhavena is important because we must be able to identify ourselves in every living and non-living being as only one essence. Very important. So when we understand this truth, then we do not have any differences. There's no Dvaita Bhava coming to any of us. Right? That's very important. So that is the result of the knowledge which is told in this verse. Now he says here in verse number 20, it's the concluding verse. Iti guhyatamam shastram. Iti guhyatamam shastram. Idam uktam maya nagha. Idam uktam maya nagha. Iti guhyatamam shastram. Idam uktam maya nagha. Etat buddha buddhimanasya. Etat buddha buddhimanasya. Kritakritasya bharata. Kritakritasya bharata. Iti guhyatamam shastram. Idamuktam maya nagha. Etat buddha buddhimanasya. Kritakritasya bharata. So the word again Bharata, descendant of Bharata Kula, or from Bharata. Then Mayanaga. So Anagaha means the sinless person. Anagaha means the one who doesn't have any sin. So Maya Anagaha. Then iti means thus. Iti guhyam guhyatamam. See, guhyam means what? Secret. So guhyatamam means most secret and most profound knowledge. See, this knowledge is not something which is publicized. You cannot go and say that Bhagavad Gita I'm teaching, just go and people don't do that. Because it is taught only to the people who really want to know. So there has to be a natural interest to know, and there has to be some qualification also required. Adhikari is required. One has to have sadhana chatushtayam. One should have done some purva shravanam before, or one should have been at least has an exposure to Vedanta before. Then only the Bhagavad Gita starts to register. Otherwise, the Bhagavad Gita will not register. And it will not be of use because there are many things talks about karma yoga, dhyana yoga, jnana yoga, karma jnana samuchayam. So many things are talked about. So all of them has to be understood. Then this particular knowledge is useful. That is why it is guhyatamam, guhyam, in the most profound. And shastram uktam. So this, what I am said, uktam means say, and shastram uktam. So what I am saying is only the shastram, right? It is not something different. So shastraha means what? Teaching. Shastram. So how does it govern? By shasanat trayate iti shastram. That means what? Shasanat means like governing. So shastram governs. So Bhagavad Gita actually governs the lifestyle. It tells you how to lead a lifestyle. What are the qualities one should have? How we should lead our life? What efforts we should make? How we should get prepared for jnana? So it is a complete moksha shastra. That's why the Bhagavad Gita is actually the most profound teaching available. Even if you don't study anything else, Bhagavad Gita, if you understand very clearly, and if you have understood it, then it will at least help you to some extent. It will not give you full jnana, but it will definitely give you enough ammunition or enough information to lead your lifestyle correctly. Because the Shastram tells you how to lead a lifestyle. So this teaching, idam Shastram uktam, etat buddhva. So knowing this, that's what I told you. So having known this or knowing this, who is this buddhimanaha? So only buddhimanaha means an intelligent person. The one who has the right buddhi. So buddhi means you must not say that, oh, I have the buddhi. No, you have the right buddhi should be important. Everyone has got buddhi. But whether we have the correct buddhi is important. So here the word buddhimanaha means the person who is endowed with the right intellect or the proper intellect. Then tasyaha kritascha. So kritascha means the one, kritaha means what? The one who has done or activities being done. And kritaschaha means the one who has already accomplished. So the person is called a buddhimanaha. He has to be buddhiman. The one should have accomplished all the activities which are required, or is doing all the actions required as per the Shastra. And he is a buddhimanaha. For such a person, he will become what? Buddhimana syat. So syat means what? A person would become more intelligent, or the person become this will be useful to the person. So iti guhyatamam shastram idamuktam maya nagha etat buddha buddhimanasya. So buddha means what? Knowing this. So bodham means knowledge. Buddha means knowing this. So knowing this knowledge, he becomes a buddhiman. So buddhiman means the one who has got the holder of buddhi is called buddhiman. Dhanavan, right? All these things are man, buddhivan. Buddhiman, kritascha syat. So he becomes, or he will become. So this is a concluding mantra where he says the importance of Shastram being the essence, and it is of the nature of guhyam, very, very profound knowledge. So with this we have concluded chapter 15. Chapter 15 is supposed to be the most important chapter because it summarizes the teaching to some extent. And before it goes next topic, which is called Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yogaha in chapter 16, which I will start most probably after maybe a week or so. We'll complete this today. We'll just revise some of the key aspects, then we'll conclude the class. Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidhyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Purushottama Yogo Nama Panchadashodhyayaha. So Panchadashaha means chapter 15. This is every chapter has got the same thing. We'll just add one more mantra. If you ask me what is important in this chapter, all is important. There's nothing which is, you can't leave anything in this, in chapter 15. One minute, I'll just get a book. We'll just chant this chapter 15. For those people who already know, for some people I already taught chapter 15 before, I think in the chanting class. But for those people who do not know, you can just follow. So Purushottama Yoga is the chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhva Moolam Adashakam Ashwattam Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedhavit Adaschodhvam Prasutastasya Shakaha Guna Pravardha Vishaya Pravalaha अधश्च मूलान्यनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके न रूपमस्येह ततोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चाति न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम् यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी निर्मानमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्तमूढा पदमव्ययं तत् न तद्भासयते सूर्यः न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनश्चेष्टानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यदवाप्नोति यच्चाव्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्तात्मन्यवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानः नैनं पश्यन्त चेतसः यदादित्यगतं तेजः जगद्भासयतेऽखिलं यच्छन्द्रमसि यच्छाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम् घामाविश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्यहमोजसा पुष्णामि चौषधी सर्वाः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधं सर्वस्य शाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टः मतस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदै च सर्वैरहमेह वेद्यः वेदान्तकृत् वेदविदेह चाहं ध्वामिमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरसाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमात्मेत्युदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य बिभर्तव्यय ईश्वरः यस्माक्षरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रथितः पुरुषोत्तमः यो मामेवमसम्मूढः जानाति पुरुषोत्तमम् स सर्वविद् भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदमुक्तं मया नघ एतत् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमानः स्यात् कृतकृतस्य भारत ओम तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्म विद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवादे पुरुषोत्तम योगो नाम पंचदशोऽध्यायः. So this one should by heart. I would recommend all of you to by heart this because when any Swamiji comes or anyone from Ashtavidya Gurukulam comes, they will chant this. Before even you go to any place to eat, they will make you chant this. You can sit in front of the food, table will be there, food will be served there, you cannot touch it. Because if you touch it, people, you will be the only person eating the food there. Everybody will be chanting there. Because it is supposed to be the mantra chanted when the people are serving the food also. Right? After it's completed, then there's also another mantra chanted. In chapter 18 is chanted there. Right? So after that, you can eat the food. This is a tradition in the Gurukul. I think people who go to Coimbatore Ashram, people know already. So I think Westerners sometimes first time they come, they don't know this culture. So they start eating like this. They are told, wait, you must not eat because they're students. So they are told after that they just wait there. All the food will be there, waiting there, hungry, but you cannot, they get used to it. So it's a good, nice thing to practice, to learn this one. So next class, we are going to do chapter 16, which will not be next Sunday, will not be there. The week after will start. This is called Daivasura Sampad Vivag Yogaha. So Daiva Asura Sampad. That means the qualities of Daivaha and Asuraha. So it talks about what are, again, qualities. Asuric qualities and Daivik qualities. So everyone has got all the qualities. So what we must develop is all Daivika qualities, and Asuric qualities you must reduce. You must leave it. Right? So that is being discussed in this again in chapter 16. So there are again values. So the whole of Bhagavad Gita is full of values. It just keeps on giving all the values which we should have to lead a correct life. Because that's why there's a book called Value of Values. See, Swamiji has written a book called Value of Values. So if you don't know the value, what is value, then you cannot place a value on the value itself. So first of all, you must know what is value is. Right? Then only you can actually put a value for the value. A person who doesn't know what is the worth of dollars, how can he put a value? He doesn't know. For him, paper only. That is why the book called Value of Values is also there. I think long time ago I gave copies, 10 copies to all the school students. I know our own classmates. Out of those people, only nobody is attending class. The book was given to them to read, but they all have left the class. You are there. One student is still there. So all the people, they came and take the free book. It was given, for them to read the book, at least start studying. But they're taking the book and somewhere it is probably sitting some table there. Under the table, somewhere it will be there. So Value of Values also, it's a small textbook written by Swamiji, just a concise book listing all the key values. But this particular topic, we have already seen a lot of values already. So this one is Daiva Asura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga, means division. Division of Daivam, Daivic qualities, and Asuric qualities, and the yoga, the discipline of acquiring those qualities, of the Daivic qualities, and how to remove the Asuric qualities or avoid Asuric qualities. This is what is discussed here. So which you are going to see not next Sunday, the week after next Sunday will go. Any question from anyone in this class so far about this chapter 15? Everything clear? Sridhar ji, ellame clear irukku. All okay. Radha ji, you are fine?
Yes, sir. Yes, fine.
ரெண்டு கைண்ட் ஆஃப் பீப்புள் இருக்காங்க. எல்லாம் புரிஞ்சவாலும் சைலண்டா இருப்பாங்க, ஒண்ணுமே புரியலனாலும் சைலண்டா இருப்பாங்க.
So see, let me ask one question.
Okay.
From this 18th shloka of 15th chapter. Okay, it says yasmat aksharamatito aham aksharaadapi chottamaha. So he says that I am atita to the perishable things, right, which is the aksharam, and I am atita to the aksharat also.
Right.
So I am beyond the perishable and the imperishable.
Correct.
So if imperishable means we should understand it as the soul or
Imperishable, see, basically what it talks about is, he first of all talks about ksharaha, right? So ksharaha, atitaha means what? That which is perishable and beyond all of them, right? And aksharaha means what? He talks about knowledge. So see, knowledge also, manifested knowledge, correct? See, knowledge is manifest also is actually going to be not correct knowledge, because knowledge itself has to be also be removed. Knowledge, source of knowledge is knowledge, pure consciousness. So here he talks about this aksharaha here as a manifested knowledge and pure knowledge. So pure knowledge cannot be talked about. It cannot be even described. Right? So
Okay.
atitaha here talks about pure knowledge, pure consciousness cannot be described, cannot be talked about. So even aksharaha, when you say also, it is also still a name only, correct? So he says that I am beyond both. When he says I am beyond anything which is manifested, anything which is also decayable or perishable thing, I am beyond all of them.
Okay.
So that is how we should.
Okay, I just got confused because he says he is beyond the imperishable. So that means, there is perishable, imperishable, and then God. It was a bit confusing to understand it like that. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why the imperishable too, when I say here, imperishable is talking about that aspect which is beyond even recognition, that you cannot even understand, you cannot even comprehend what it is. See, consciousness principle cannot be described. See, when I say, I know consciousness, when I say, consciousness also becomes an object of knowledge. It is imperishable. Correct. Conscious principle is imperishable. Correct. But when I say I know consciousness, it becomes also comes under the imperishable only. Correct. Perishable also. But what he says is I know consciousness as that which is beyond everything, that which is the source of its pure consciousness.
Okay.
So you have to add that pure consciousness, because the pure is just only qualification. The pure says that it is not manifest. It is actually that which is unmanifest, which is in the form of complete ekam satyam. So that is what he's talking about here. I know the word looks confusing here. That's what I had to explain to you, that the imperishable it talks about is that which cannot be even comprehended. So I am even beyond that, means that which cannot be revealed, that cannot be understood, cannot be talked about, is I am that.
Okay.
So such a person who understands the truth is the Buddhiman. Correct.
Okay.
See, this is because this is not clear here, because when you study Mundaka Upanishad and Kena Upanishad Bhashyam, there you will understand very clearly, because the student is actually listening to the teacher explaining all Atma, Brahman, etc. Then he says that now I understood what Brahman is. He says, now I know what Brahman is. Teacher, I know Brahman is. Teacher says that if you say that you know Brahman is, that you do not know Brahman is. He says this. If you tell me, if you are saying that you know Brahman, what is Brahman, that means you are not really understood what Brahman is. So again, the student asks a question as to what is the Brahman. So that is where he talks about that Brahman cannot be talked about. Consciousness cannot be talked about. See, if you know the value of consciousness, we know what it is consciousness. It doesn't talk, because consciousness doesn't have anything called mouth. It doesn't have eyes. It doesn't have anything. So the person keeps quiet. But the same conscious principle, when it's manifested in the form of knowledge, it is available for recognition. Correct? So that knowledge also is perishable.
Okay.
Correct? So that knowledge also is perishable, because knowledge will also go one day. But the source of the knowledge which is manifested will be always there. See, knowledge will come and go, but the source of the knowledge will remain the same. Correct? So he says that I am beyond this imperishable knowledge which is talked about. I am that knowledge which cannot be removed at all. So you have to arrive at that truth in that manner.
Okay.
So that is what he says here as Sharam atitaha aksharat api chottamaha. Right. So the word Ksharam atitaha talks about the beyond the Kshara Purushaha. Right. Then Aksharat api chottamaha means what? I am the Purushottama in the Aksharaha. That's how you should read.
Okay.
So I am the Purushottama in the Akshara Purushaha. So Purushottama we saw what? Kutastam, Paramatma, correct? We saw all these things, correct definition. Changeless. So changeless is what? His consciousness is not changeless. There's no change at all. But knowledge keeps changing. Right? So he says, I'm beyond that. That is how we should arrive at this truth. That is why, Bhagavad Gita sometimes will give you some idea because this is talked about in Kathopanishad, Bhashyam. And the Bhashyam in the Kenopanishad talks more about it. So Upanishad actually gives more very clear, cut and dried knowledge. Bhagavad Gita just gives you an overall picture about what it is. So you cannot stop at Bhagavad Gita. You have to continue studying Upanishad. Then only you'll get Purna Jnanam. Otherwise, you'll have some understanding of what it is like this. It's a factual knowledge, right? But the Upanishad reinforces the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita by clear knowledge. Correct.
Understood.
Any other questions? Suresh, you're okay?
Yeah. It is a bit complicated, this, but it seems to introduce some kind of Dvaitam or maybe from the other philosophy, they will latch on to these three verses maybe.
Yeah, they latch on to it. Correct. Adi Shankara is very clear. He negates it all in Bhashyam. He has got elaborate Bhashyam there. He negates all this.
So I think Adi Shankara explains it as Maya. That is what, I don't have the original Sanskrit Bhashyam. But Kutastham, he relates to Maya. I don't know whether that is correct.
Kutastham is changeless. See, Maya is actually part of Brahman. And Maya is the one which is a Vikshepa Shakti, Avan Shakti, correct?
Yeah.
So Maya is the one which makes you believe things are like this, but actually it's not. Right. So Maya Shakti is a power of Brahman itself. So Maya doesn't have existence of its own, independent of its own. So Maya also is manifested knowledge. Whereas the source of Maya is Brahman. So Maya doesn't have existence outside of Brahman. So he says, I am that Brahman, I am that consciousness, I am that which is beyond this also. That is how we should take it. I am beyond even Maya. Maya has got attributes, correct? It has got Sattva Pradhana Prakriti, all the Rajas, everything is there, correct? Tamas, everything is there. So I don't get touched by any of these things. So that is how we should take it. No other questions, Srikanth, you're okay? Jayama, you're okay?
Okay, sir, Guruji.
So with this, we are completed. I think we are almost there, but chapter 18 is a long one. So the longest one after chapter 2. So there are two chapters which are very long. Chapter 2 and chapter 18. They are two of the longest chapters. But we should be able to complete this maybe next 3-4 months, maybe. I think we should be able to complete every 3-4 months. Okay. Normally, it takes about 2 years, 2.5 years to complete one round of Bhagavad Gita course. So that is an average I take to complete 2.5 years regular classes. So we'll just go through this next class. I'll announce you. I'll just put a notification in the WhatsApp group. Just keep looking at the group about times, etc. Because it's a little bit fluid. Only this class is consistent. Other classes may change on Sundays here and there. Okay. I will notify you next week. Next week there's no class. The week after we have class on Sundays. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tatsat Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Namaste Shubhratri.
Thank you.
Shubhratri.